Hey guys, in today's video, we are going over at least two articles that are talking about student loan cancellation. The first one is all about 100,000 borrowers are now eligible for student loan cancellation. And then the second one is all about the White House and the Department of Education, maybe even giving us some signs that the student loan payment pause will be extended. But before we go into it, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Jed and I post personal finance and dividend investing videos and pretty much anything related to money. But right now I am documenting my journey in paying off my student loans. So if you're interested in seeing how everything unfolds or just want to show your support, then please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and also sharing this video. Now with that out of the way, let's get back to the main thing. So this is the first article that we are going to look over, and this is from ABC7. 100,000 borrowers are now eligible for debt cancellation under new Biden student loan rules. Now let's go over here to the article itself. It says here that the Department of Education said Wednesday that it has so far identified 100,000 borrowers who are eligible for student debt cancellation due to the changes the agency made to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program in October. The cancellations for those people are expected to total about $6.2 billion in federal student debt relief. Not all of the eligible borrowers have been notified of their debt relief yet. They are being notified on a rolling basis, and the Department of Education could not provide a date when all of them will have been contacted. The announcement marks the latest effort by the Biden administration to make it easier for some borrowers to qualify for loan forgiveness under existing programs. But the administration's piecemeal approach still falls short of the president's campaign pledge to support canceling $10,000 for each of the roughly 43 million people who currently hold federal student loan debt. So based on the first part of the article, an extra 100,000 borrowers have been eligible, or at least been identified eligible, for the student loan cancellation using PSLF. Because if you remember, the PSLF has been revamped to kind of like update some of these existing policies that they have that didn't really work out well. And this is very good news because at least $6.2 billion in federal student loans could get canceled if those people who hold those debt would apply again and maybe even, revisit their applications in PSLF. So let's continue this article. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program promises to wipe away remaining federal student loan debt after an eligible public service worker makes 10 years of monthly payments. It was created about 15 years ago, but a very small percentage of people who applied had received forgiveness before 2021. Many borrowers criticized the program as difficult to navigate, and some said they found out they weren't eligible for forgiveness only after making what they thought were a decade's worth of qualifying payments. Only borrowers with specific kinds of federal loans and enrolled in certain repayment programs were eligible. Last year, the Biden administration temporarily expanded eligibility through October 31, 2022, so that the program now includes borrowers who had loans that didn't originally qualify. The PSLF announcement made today means more of our dedicated teachers, nurses, first responders, service members, and many other public service workers will get meaningful relief, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said then in a statement. And by the way, this article was published March 9, so this is, by the time you're watching this, last week. And there you go, this is one of the biggest reasons why the PSLF needed to be revamped. A lot of inconsistencies and inefficiencies with the policies and systems that were in place were found. I guess this was the silver lining with this pandemic and all the craziness that has been happening with the student loan world is that it brought to light a lot of the things that student loan borrowers have been experiencing, especially with federal student loans. The system was just very inefficient. A lot of people were getting screwed over by the systems that they thought they could trust to kind of help them, in the future. So anyway, let's go back over here. Due to the temporary waiver, it no longer matters what kind of federal student loan a borrower has or what repayment plan he or she is enrolled in. All payments will be eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program if the borrower was working full-time for a qualifying employer. Previously, eligibility also hinged on having a direct loan and being enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan, which sets payments based on income and family size. Those with federal family education loans, which were made by private lenders but backed by the government, did not qualify. So what can borrowers do now? And this is what they're saying here. Many borrowers don't have to take any action in order to have the Department of Education review and update the number of their qualifying payments. But those with older federal family education loans will have to consolidate them into direct loans if they have not already done so. Payments made before consolidation will now count toward receiving relief. Those who already have direct loans but have not submitted employment certification forms for past periods of repayment must also do that now. Borrowers have until October 31, 2022 to make those changes to qualify for forgiveness under the temporary waiver. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to turn out, throughout the rest of the year, but I believe this is very good news already, because at least this gives a lot of the borrowers who are in quite a big amount of debt, especially with federal student loans, now they have some sort of guide to get them out of the situation that they're in. And now this is good news, like I said, because it makes it a lot easier for them to qualify for that. And by the way, this is just my opinion. I am not part of the PSLF, so I cannot tell you from experience because I have no experience with PSLF. I can only give you information that I see here, that I've read online as well. So I do highly recommend that you do your own research so that you can take advantage of this opportunity, because who knows, this might be gone right away. As you can see, the deadline is October 31, 2022. So you gotta make sure that you're making the right moves to take advantage of this big opportunity, at least in my opinion, or at least in my view, to get your debt eradicated. Anyway, let's go to the second article that we're gonna talk about here. And it says here that Education Department sends another sign that student loan payments may not restart in May. So this is from CNBC, and let's go over here and see what it is all about. The US Department of Education has directed the companies that service federal student loans not to send out notices about payments restarting in May, according to two people familiar with the matter. Servicers that would have sent out the reminders to borrowers at the end of the month are now holding off. The news is the clearest sign yet that the Biden administration is considering extending the payment pause for federal student loan borrowers once again. It remains unclear how much more time, if any, borrowers may get. Since March 2020, when the coronavirus pandemic first hit the US and crippled the economy, most federal student loan holders have been given the option not to pay their monthly bill, and interest hasn't been allowed to accrue on their debt in the meantime. A spokesperson for the Education Department said it will continue communicating regularly with servicers about the type and cadence of outreach to borrowers. The reprieve impacting more than 25 million Americans have been extended 5 times throughout the public health crisis and is currently slated to end May 2. However, White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain said earlier this month that the Biden administration wanted to make its decision around debt cancellation before it turned the payments back on. The president is going to look at what we should do on student debt before the pause expires, or he'll extend the pause, Klain said on the podcast Pod Save America. On the campaign trail, President Joe Biden promised to quickly cancel $10,000 per borrower, but he's increasingly under pressure from some Democrats and advocates to wipe out more. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Elizabeth Warren are pushing him to cancel up to $50,000 for all. Now, the rest is pretty much just like data and all that polls and whatever, but the point here is that there is now a clear sign that Biden may extend the student loan payment pause. I was able to watch that segment in Pod Save America, so I highly recommend that you do that too, so you can, draw up your own conclusions. But I do believe this is very important because now, like I said earlier, this is a clear sign that it can be extended if the circumstances are correct. And I do think that they are doing this if we are going to take a step back at least, and it probably has something to do with political motives as well. Honestly, I don't follow all of those politics happening right now. I don't really care about the elections or anything like that. I really don't try to follow who's winning or who's losing, but I do think that there has some element to that. I read somewhere in Reddit that they are actually doing this now because they wanted to save face during election time. Whether or not that is true, it holds some sense to it because President Joe Biden has not yet fulfilled, at least on a wide scale, his cancellation promise for a lot of people. And this consideration of an extension to the payment pause may be another move for them to kind of like hold on to their power so that they can have more time to kind of like mull over this issue. But then again, guys, this is just my opinion. Don't believe me, I don't really care. What really matters now is that you have the information on your hand and you can do whatever you want with it. Personally, when it comes to student loan cancellation, I am teetering on both sides because I can see their perspectives. On one end, if you cancel all student loans, then that means a lot of people are now free from their burdens and they can do whatever they want, and they can probably use that money that they're saving to bring themselves up financially as well. However, I see the other side of that as well. If everything is canceled, then that just means that a lot of people can recklessly rack up more debt because they're free of their responsibilities now. They can just do it all over again. That's why for me, I would like some student loans to be canceled and some of them to stay with some people. I think student loans for people who are really struggling would be the best bet, and then leave some of the student loan debt for those people who are actually responsible enough to have taken that debt out and pay back. And afterward, I think whoever got their student loans canceled should probably go into some sort of workshop or some sort of training to help them understand what just happened and what they should be doing moving forward. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents, and those are the 2 articles that I wanted to go over today. And I hope that you find that very informative and helpful. If you have any questions, let me know know in the comments below. I'll also link down in the description links to those articles and also the episode of Pod Save America so that you can watch it yourself. If you like content just like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and also share this video. If you're on Instagram, please add me there at Daily Dread so that we can be friends, we can chat, collaborate, and maybe even exchange some ideas. Thank you again so much for watching. Have a wonderful and awesome day. I will see you in the next video. Bye.